Most compost bins fail for one simple reason: they can't breathe properly. People pile kitchen scraps and garden waste into sealed plastic containers thinking heat alone creates good compost, then months later they're left with a wet, smelly mess full of flies and half-rotten material. Poor airflow kills microbial balance, slows decomposition, and actually strips nutrients from the compost you work so hard to make. That's why pallet compost bins work far better than most people realize when they're built correctly. The airflow is natural, moisture escapes more evenly, and the compost stays biologically active instead of turning anaerobic. One thing that helped me manage this much better was using the YAMRON 4-in-1 soil meter around the compost area and nearby beds. Most gardeners don't realize how often compost piles either dry out too much or stay too wet underneath. I used the meter to monitor moisture levels in the surrounding soil after applying compost, and it helped me catch nutrient-locking moisture problems before they affected root growth. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out because it's surprisingly useful when managing compost-fed gardens. And if you care about building real living soil instead of just throwing organic waste into a pile, subscribe to the channel because compost quality changes everything in a garden. Now here's the thing most people get wrong about pallet compost bins. The pallets themselves are not the secret. The layout is. I've tested single pallet piles, fully enclosed pallet cubes, and even double bin systems side by side. The best results consistently came from a simple 3-sided pallet design with an open front and direct ground contact underneath. That ground contact matters more than people think because it allows worms, fungi, and beneficial microbes to move naturally into the pile. If you place your compost on concrete or plastic sheeting, you cut off a huge part of the biological activity that speeds decomposition. My favorite setup uses 3 pallets standing upright in a U-shape roughly 4 feet wide and 4 feet deep. That size holds enough mass to generate heat properly without becoming impossible to turn. And here's where most compost piles quietly fail. People overload them with nitrogen-heavy material. Fresh grass clippings, kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, and green weeds all heat up fast, but if there's not enough carbon material balancing them out, the pile turns slimy and oxygen drops hard. That's when you get that sour smell most gardeners think is normal compost. It's not normal. Healthy compost smells earthy, not rotten. What actually works is roughly a 2-to-1 ratio of brown material to green material. For every bucket of fresh green waste, I add about 2 buckets of dry leaves, shredded cardboard, straw, or dry plant material. That balance creates airflow pockets inside the pile while still feeding the microbes enough nitrogen to break things down quickly. And later in this video I'll explain the one pallet mistake that can accidentally contaminate your compost without people realizing it. Now let's talk about moisture because this is where most piles stall out completely. A compost pile should feel like a wrung-out sponge. Damp, but not dripping. Too dry and microbial activity slows almost to a stop. Too wet and oxygen disappears. In one of my early pallet systems, heavy rain kept soaking the center because I left the top exposed. The pile looked active from the outside, but inside it was compacted and sour. Once I added a loose cover using old plywood with gaps for airflow, decomposition sped up dramatically. This is also why pallet spacing matters. Small gaps between slats allow passive airflow that plastic bins often struggle with. That oxygen keeps microbial populations active deeper inside the pile. And honestly, after testing multiple systems, I think many expensive compost tumblers are overrated for serious gardeners. They're convenient for small spaces, but they rarely build the same biological diversity as an open ground pallet system. Now here's the pallet mistake I mentioned earlier. Avoid chemically treated pallets whenever possible. Some pallets are heat treated, which is generally safe for garden use. Others may contain chemical treatments or industrial contamination from previous shipping use. I only use clean heat-treated pallets marked height because the last thing you want is chemicals leaching into compost that eventually feeds your food crops. That small detail matters far more than fancy compost additives people spend money on. Another thing that dramatically improves pallet compost systems is layering particle sizes correctly. If you dump thick branches, wet grass, and food scraps all in one dense layer, airflow collapses. What works better is alternating textures. I usually start with coarse sticks or woody material at the bottom, then layer greens and browns gradually. That creates natural air channels throughout the pile. And don't obsess over turning constantly either. I know some gardeners turn compost every few days, but honestly, excessive turning can release heat too fast and disrupt fungal development. I usually turn active piles every couple of weeks unless the center becomes compacted. One of the best compost piles I ever built with Pallets reached stable dark crumbly compost in about 3 months using nothing more than leaves, weeds, kitchen scraps, and proper moisture balance. The final compost completely changed the structure of one heavy clay bed in my garden. Water infiltration improved, worms exploded in population, and tomato roots grew deeper than they had the previous season. That's the real value of a good compost system. It's not just waste recycling. It's biological soil building. Once you understand airflow, moisture balance, carbon ratios, and microbial activity, even simple wooden pallets can produce compost powerful enough to transform poor soil into productive ground. If this video helped you understand how to build a compost system that actually works, subscribe to FarmLogic and share it with another gardener trying to turn waste into living soil.